I've been surprised by how many people ask me about imposter syndrome. It is so common. It's almost like borderline shocking. Like, when did all of this happen? Right? So, two caveats. One, I'm not a psychologist, right? I would never discourage someone from getting professional mental health help if they need it, right? Because, I'm just giving my view, just my life experience, but I'm not a professional psychologist. And two, I have to admit that sometimes it's hard for me to relate to this a little bit because I've always been somebody who's been a fairly confident person. Like I've never really like backed down from a challenge because of my confidence or because of my appearance, because of my weight or other things, right? Or because of my race, my ethnicity, or things that might hold other people back. That's just never been a thing for me, you know? Like, I've always been, I've had, various periods in my life and all the various fluctuations, but like I've always been like a fat guy, right? But that's never held me back. Like I've always felt confident, right? Like that's never held me back from like applying for a job or doing something or asking the girl out or things like that, right? So it's really kind of hard for me to sometimes relate to it. But I will tell you this, that obviously there are times when I have thought, okay, maybe I'm overreaching on this job or on this project or pitching this client or. But one of the things that has helped me is a long time ago, I read about the psychology behind sports, particularly around like triathletes. For those of you that don't know, triathlon is swim, biking, and running. I've always been fascinated by that sport. I think it's awesome, right? But really could apply to any sport, right? And I remember that one of the greats in that sport was talking about the psychology that they used. And he talked about how whenever he's at the starting line, whenever the race is about to start and you start feeling those feelings of, the imposter syndrome, the self-confidence and all that, you think to yourself, wait a minute, all of those hours that I spent on the bike, all of those miles that I put running, all of those times I got up early to go to the pool or to swim or whatever. All of that time, all of those hours, if I could turn them into a person, that person would be standing with me right here next to me. Those three people, the biking, the running, the swimming that I did, they would be standing here right next to me, supporting me, right? So that's the way professional athletes think about it. They encapsulate all the work they've done, and they say those hours, I am not alone here at the starting line. Those hours are standing right next to me. Those hours are supporting me right now. So that's the way that I think about it. When I'm pitching a client, when I'm, pitching a new project or even like, maybe like when I have some downtime, I'm in between contracts and I'm looking for my next contract and I don't know if I'm going to make it, right? Like all that work you've done, all that effort you've put in, it's standing right next to you. It's sitting right next to you, pushing you, right? Like everything you've done in the past means something. If you could personify it, it would be a person that's rooting you on. So that's what I use, right? I use those thoughts to say, all right, so maybe, it's going to be tough. Maybe, you know, it's going to be a tough client or a tough pitch or you know, whatever the case may be. But I know that I've put in good work in the past. I know that I have solid skills that I developed over time. And all of that is standing with me. All of that is right behind me. So, Leo, that's the best advice that I can give you because that's how I've worked with it in the past, where I can say, okay, yeah, you know, this is you know, it's gonna be tough. You know, maybe I'm just overreaching just a little bit here, but I can do it. I can do it because of the work that's directly behind me, of the work that is supporting me right here, right now.